Hello and welcome to a VOD review. This match was submitted. It's versus Hardened Scales, and we're trying something new. I have some patrons with me in a Discord call, so I might ask for some of their perspectives. This is the list that we're going to be playing with, notably 2 Shredder, a Borrower, 1 Scolding, 1 Snare, 4 Ragavan. 4 Ragavan notably. That's probably not notable for most people, but for me. And then we have some nice sideboard options that we'll look at after game one. So let's get into the match. Alright, so let me go back a second. That was quick, but. So this is the first hand. We are on the play. The problem here is it's going to take a while to play this Murktide. None of these lands are even fetches. We also have no play on turn one. Could fall behind versus a Ragavan, a scammed card. Lots of plays that we fall behind against and immediately are on the back foot. So I think I like mulliganing as well. I mean, maybe if you switch one of these lands for an expressive iteration, you could make an argument for it on the play, because Counterspell does work pretty well on the play. It's sort of like a removal spell, just missing that turn one play, but otherwise you can kind of just Counterspell curve out. Um, but yes, I think that this is a good hand to mulligan. I'm already not very happy to have 4 lands either. So we mulligan, and this is our 6. This is obviously a good 6, but it's not immediately obvious what you should put back here. Does anyone in the Discord have an opinion or a guess on what you might want to put back here? Any thoughts? I'm still thinking myself, so no wrong answers. Okay, fair enough. I think I would probably put back. It's close between Spell Pierce and Shredder here, I think. Um, I'd probably lean towards putting back Shredder because I think that Spell Pierce is generally pretty good right now. Um, and I think that the thing is Shredder can be nice, but we already have a threat, and we want to keep at least a removal spell. We want to keep a counter. Usually, multiple counters can be fine when you're on the play. They usually line up pretty well. On the draw, I think it's pretty defensible to put back maybe counterspell. Um, but on the play, counterspell is pretty great. And Shredder, we don't have a clear way to trigger it here. I mean, there is definitely a chance we'll be able to trigger it in a couple turns, but I feel like game one especially, it's pretty slow. When you don't know what you're up against, you don't know if they're going to be triggering it. It's kind of more of a situational card. We put back a counterspell. I think that's also reasonably defensible. I guess I just wouldn't put back any of the lands, DRC or Lightning Bolt. The other 3 cards I think are pretty reasonable to put back. So we see Ancient Stirrings and we spell Pierce it. Oh, so first of all, we didn't play DRC turn 1. And I think now here's a thought about putting back Counterspell, right? If you put back Counterspell, potentially you're not supposed to play DRC turn 1 because you're completely weak to Bowmaster, right? So considering that, I think putting back Counterspell seems weaker. Because I would like to play DRC turn 1. I mean, especially with Ragavan, but also with DRC, usually on the play turn 1, I'm going to make it a habit to play my creature. There are lines that punish you always, like Fury Scam would be a big one. This hand also is like good. Like if you know you're playing against Scam, you're not going to play the DRC here. But in the blind, more often than not, it's one of your best turns to develop your creature and then hold up removal. And not to mention, without playing by not playing the DRC here, you're making the Shredder potentially more awkward too. Because at this point now, it's like, are you going to play Shredder on 2 and then play DRC on 3? You're just giving up, potential clock, potential surveils to filter your draws, which will mean it'd be slower to get Delirium. So I think that you kind of have to, if you're keeping Shredder plus DRC, you have to plan on going DRC into Shredder probably, or depending on their start, maybe Bolt and hold up Pierce. But I think Bowmaster, Bowmaster does make me want to keep Counterspell, so I might just put back the Shredder or the Pierce. I think those are the two cards I'd be closest to putting back. And I generally really like Pierce. Um, the risk with the Pierce maybe is if they kill DRC on turn 1 and then the game goes longer. But Pierce normally converts against basically every deck these days. Whereas Shredder, it's just kind of questionable how good it's going to be and how much value you're going to get from it. And then we pierce the Ancient Stirrings. I think you can pretty clearly put them on Hardened scales from that. Ancient Stirrings plus Beseiju. There's just not a lot of decks. I guess the other deck is Tron. So yeah, I guess it's 50-50 to be Tron or Scales, but probably in favor of Scales because Tron keeping a hand that goes turn 1 Beseiju Ancient Stirrings is definitely at the bottom of their keep range. Like they'd much rather start every game with a Tron land plus Expedition Map or Chromatic Sphere Star. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts so far. We draw another Pierce. I think that means we can definitely play DRC here. And I think what we're going to see end up happening... Oh, they have Saga. That's pretty gross. Hmm. So we dash Ragavan. We know that next turn Ragavan is going to be blocked by a construct. I don't really see the value in dashing Ragavan here because we're just getting one trigger that gives us a treasure. I guess maybe the angle is we want to go. Oh wow. Okay. So do they just keep they kept and they don't have another land. Wow. Okay, so this this strategy worked out really well because they didn't have another land. And we draw Bauble. Wow. Things are looking up here. I like discarding Ragavan there, knowing that at this point they're going to be deploying stuff like Hangerback Walker. They'll be deploying basically all of their creatures are going to be pretty annoying for us to deal with here. Ooh, Soul Cauldron plus Zabaz is a gross combo. Um, but yeah, we can keep the Zabaz off the field, and then now we have Counterspell. I would have used Unholy Heat there because Bolt Face could definitely be relevant. Like this could come down to a race pretty easily, and Bolt Face could be relevant. Bolt Face also can give you a Shredder trigger in a key spot. Like you could go Counterspell plus Bolt Face. Just a minor thing, but it can be smart to keep that in mind. It could become a major thing depending on how the game plays out. Also, yeah, the Soul Cauldron just can eat your stuff, and we'll lose Delirium for heat pretty quickly here. So yeah. Or was there did we have no, we didn't have to, right? Yeah, and top counter spell I like. Oh, but you had the play of DRC connive away Unholy Heat to find counter spell, which puts them to 8 and puts them on takes a turn off the clock. So that's pretty huge. So that's the play that you definitely should have made in that spot. We're giving them extra time, which is really scary when they have like double hardened scales plus soul cauldron with ballista under it. Just think things could get really dicey really fast. So I'm just like pretty keen to get this game over with as soon as possible. And they would have been we would have drawn heat, attacking them to 3 this turn, so they would have needed to have a way to remove our shredder. We're still not in a bad spot. Oh god. Oh no. Oh, now I feel like we're in a really bad spot. We gotta. We have to. There's like nothing we can do. Well, so they can sack Ozolith. With the Ozolith on the stack, if we had double heated, was there a chance? No, it doesn't do anything, right? Yeah. So we got them down to 2, but I think we win this game if we had played DRC on one. Oh, let's go back to the sideboarding. Thank you for doing that. So sideboarding, you take out on the play, spell pierce, the Ragavans. Also, if you had the bolts in hand, right, they would have just died instead of the unholy heat. So things came back to bite you there. I think that the opponent also could have maybe played it a little bit better. Like maybe they probably shouldn't have taken that shredder hit. I think they could have maybe killed our shredder. I guess I don't know. They had the saga in play, so they were probably winning the long game. But if your opponent can make mistakes always, your goal is to minimize your own mistakes, and the opponent there made some mistakes that gave you position to win the game if you had just played a couple things a little bit differently. Okay, anyways, going into sideboarding. 2 spell pierce out, 4 Ragavan out, 2 Shredder out. In Fury, Magus of the Moon, Cast into the Fire, Alpine Moon, 2 explosives, Dress Down, Stern Scolding. I actually just want to see the other cards you have though. So we didn't bring in, of note, we didn't bring in Subtlety is the only card really that maybe you could give an argument for. I don't really love Subtlety that much. Maybe on the draw it's reasonable. Notably, the main deck has no free spells. That's pretty interesting. So on the play, I actually am a fan of Ragavan, I think. If you can trade it with one of their 1-drops, that's fine. And if you can get it down and then they do something like Stirrings or Hardened Scales turn 1 and you just have like a wall of counters, you are also in pretty good shape. Um, on the draw, I agree with you that it's not great. Oh, how do we go to this sideboarding? So you boarded out the Shredders. I agree with cutting Spell Pierce, I think. Though there's actually a lot more targets now that they play Soul Cauldron. Like, Spell Pierce actually has just a ton of targets. So let's see, because I think I might want to keep the Ragavans and the Spell Pierces. I'm good with cutting Shredder. I definitely want Stern Scolding. I definitely want Dress Down. I definitely want Alpine Moon. I think I want EEs. I think I definitely want Cast into the Fire. Fury and Magus, I'm not sure how much I want these. Magus is basically just to shut down Saga, which we already have Alpine Moon and Dress Down and 2 EEs for. So I'm feeling like we don't need Magus. I'm feeling like Fury is not that great either, to be honest. There's a lot of cards they have where they can move counters around, where their cards start to get too big for Fury to actually kill them, and it's a sorcery speed removal spell that we're probably going to have to pitch a card for. Just all around, don't feel great about that. So I'd probably not bring in Fury and Magus. I keep the two spell pierces, and then going back to the main deck, I think you could maybe shave. I'd cut Borrower. I think you could cut a counter spell because we have Stern Scolding and Dress Down coming in, which are basically more counters. You could probably shave an iteration. The matchup often feels a lot about tempo. And then maybe because you have 8 removal spells, you could shave an Unholy Heat on the play. You're also bringing in Cast in the Fire and EE, like more removal. I honestly am not even very sold on EE, but I think it can be pretty good a lot of the time, so probably good enough. So let's go to game 2, and we keep this hand on 6, which I think is a good keep. There's a question of if you're supposed to play EE for 0, but probably not. I don't hate upkeep bolts, but it is pretty risky. Because if we let them resolve a 2-drop, maybe it's actually probably not that risky. Yeah, I think that's correct there. Looking for that second land. Oh, but they have a Saga, which is gross. I like betting Fiery Islet. We do have this EE, which is a pretty nice answer to Saga, but excuse me. So now there's an interesting question of do you even play the EE? I don't really know what's best here. I kind of, with them having 5 cards in hand, I think we want them to play into this more. Ooh, and they. I have a feeling we like draw Dress Down or something to win this game. Counterspell's interesting. Are we attacking here? But they're just going to. So is our plan to Unholy Heat the Construct and hope they use the jar? Or we get Delirium here. And they do use the jar. I don't actually think they should really be using the jar in this spot. But they do. Then they float mana. Get Ozolith. Play Ozolith. And play a play a Hangerback Walker. We counter it and top a Murktide Regent. I'm not sure about topping the Murktide Regent. I guess it'll be an 8/8. And we play EE for 0. Yeah, we probably do have to play the Murktide because we're drawing pretty slim otherwise. They play the One Ring. I don't know why we pop EE there. They just wait. Did they just put themselves dead? What was that? Their guys don't have flying, right? Okay, that was that was bizarre. Going to game 3. We keep this hand. I don't hate this hand. Obviously, on the draw, it's a bit annoying because I think we have to hold up. I think we. Maybe we don't have to hold up. Hold on a second. Let's pause here. So the tempting thing is to hold up Spell Snare, right? But what we know about their deck is that their deck is pretty much exclusively 2 drops. And of the 2 drops that we basically like have to spell snare, I think it comes down to Patchwork Automaton. They didn't play a 1 drop, so we know they don't have like Ancient Stirrings or Hardened Scales. They could have the Ozolith, but if they have the Ozolith and then we spell snare their next 2 drop, we can get out kind of far ahead. So my thought here is maybe we want to play our DRC, start to apply pressure. Next turn we have like Preordain plus Spell Snare, and then we have Expressive Iteration plus maybe Removal Spell or Hold Up Stern Scolding would be really amazing. Something like that. Also, changing how we sideboard, I think Spell Pierce gets worse, and we probably should bring in like the Force of Negation and maybe the Subtlety on the draw. Oh, and we should be cutting Ragavans, which I think you already did cut Ragavans. So, but I just wanted to call that out. If you were to sideboard the way I did, I would not want Ragavans in on the draw. I think that they just get invalidated too often by something like Hangerback Walker, and they're pretty poor in the mid game for that same reason. I like to load up on counter spells and just counter all their stuff. So yeah, I think playing DRC here is good. We saw game one, we lost with them at 2 life. Often, especially with Soul Cauldron now, they can just kind of do that. If we pass here, they can definitely play something like they have no reason to play Soul Cauldron out. It's not clear if we actually even want to counter an Ozolith. We probably would want to counter an Ozolith, but if they play like a Ballista for 1 or a Hangerback Walker, maybe it's okay. Like if we Spell Snare now, whatever they can just play out their worst thing at first, right? And this hand is not a hand that can afford to waste mana, and it's also a hand that wants to put some pressure on the opponent. Well, every hand wants to do that, but so we Spell Snare this, but I don't feel like it was. I mean, yeah, it's pretty nice to Spell Snare. So now I think that this is a. Oh, I would definitely be casting the other DRC here. Like, what's the point of preordaining now? We could preordain next turn, right? Get down your second DRC unless you're afraid of them going like Hardened Scales Ballista. But yeah, realistically, I'd get down my other DRC in that spot. And we could have just preordained into the counterspell there, I think. So we could have had like double DRC with counterspell and dress down up, and then iteration into either the counterspell or dress down on the next turn. Now they have a chance to slip something through. I resolved the One Ring. This One Ring is going to be really bad. I like binning the Spire Bluffs there because I think we've kind of identified like we might need to find our cast into the fire to have a chance to win here. It's kind of how it feels. I agree with not countering Hardened Scales because even with the Cauldron already in play, I think we just need to stop stuff from hitting the board. I don't think I agree with casting Stern Scolding here. The reason being we might want to like tap low on mana later. Oof. And letting Hanger back or Arcbound Ravager. Maybe the Patchwork could have resolved? No, because of the Cauldron. Yeah, Cauldron makes everything annoying for us, that's for sure. This 8/8 Murktide's not even very good. They have 2 Inkmoth Nexus that can block it. And they also... I mean, they just have... Yeah, we're completely doomed here. think back to the turn where we had played the preordained instead of second DRC, and I'm pretty sure if we had just played second DRC and then preordained the turn after to find counterspell, we would have probably won. Hmm. I guess we have this Magus of the Moon plus plus we have Stern Scolding online. But if they draw a ballista, they can just put it under the cauldron. How does Soul Cauldron work? Am I do I not understand how Agatha's Soul Cauldron works? Is there not a Hangerback Walker under there? Yeah, I like bolting face and trying to just iteration into the win, because we're in very bad shape. Do we steal it here? Hmm. It does not look like we do. Let me read Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Oops, sorry. Forgot that we were on a YouTube video. Oh, Hangerback Walker's ability is I'm okay. I'm dumb. It doesn't mean that when a creature dies. I was thinking that they get Hangerback Walker's ability of when this creature dies, you make a bunch of a bunch of spirits. I was like, this card is or Thopters. I was like, this card is busted. No, it's not. So we won that game. Wow, I thought that game was looking really bad, but the aggression paid off. Um, that's kind of how I feel the good games against skills go. If you can get some DRCs active, get a Murktide down and hit with that, those types of plays are the plays that give you the best chance of winning against skills. That'd be my big takeaway. Try to play things pretty aggressively in the matchup. But overall, yeah, I think I liked a lot of the decisions you made in this match. Thanks for submitting it. I would have sideboarded a little bit differently, and I would have probably been a little bit more aggressive in developing my threats early on, and not played in fear of something like the Hangerback Walker. Like if the Hangerback Walker slips through, so be it. Just like try to prioritize stopping Arcbound Ravager from getting through that can like blow up the Hangerback Walker. Um, those types of things, and I think I think that's how I would have played it. But it ended up that you got the win. Thanks for submitting the match. That was a pretty interesting match to see.